Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, in today's episode, we're going to go through some trades, but we have a small problem. TDK is out, just coming down. I have a small announcement to make. We put up a video yesterday. It was called a Best of the Best. Now, we have the top two ranked teams in here, both interviewed, okay, interrogated by myself, and you're going to see their trades and how they built a team worth 13.5 million. And it's actually quite genius the way they did it, and it might set you up for next year, okay? If you're having a bad year this year, okay, it just goes through their strategies, and it's actually quite decent. I mean, things have to go right, but you got to check out the video, okay? Especially if you're having a bad year. Yeah, I think it's one to check out. Now, going through this week's trades, okay? Now, we have a few players that are problem players for us, okay? Players with high break-evens like the Bices, okay? Now, the thing with Bice is you've got to break even with 102. Now, the 102 break-even... although it's not convenient, we do know that he can score 80s. Okay, we've seen it here. And he's matched up this week against Carlton, but next week he has Melbourne. So if he goes at 80s the next 2 weeks, all right, he's only going to lose. Well, he's 375 now. He'll be 370. He's going to lose about 3,000. Okay, now 3,000 might not sound like a lot to a lot of you rich people out there, but when you're poor, 3,000 is a lot of money right now. So we go to the gutters and collect $3,000 in $1 coins. Okay, sometimes I have to collect them in 5-cent pieces. Okay, because I'm that poor. But anyway, that's $3,000. So we'll take that for now, okay? So Bice can stay. He doesn't have to go anywhere, okay? Now, the other player is Caleb Daniel, break-even of 121. However, the news out now, and it was broken last night by Squiddy and the Horse and the whole gang at Insights Fantasy podcast, okay? The whole lot of them broke out the news, because when you want to hear about North Melbourne, they break the news at North Melbourne, okay? So what we heard was that Sheezels is now playing, has been training in the forward line and in the midfield, okay? Which means he wasn't training in defence, so that possibly means that Caleb Daniel is back to his Caleb Danielness, okay, now. So what that means is V scores of 116, 116, 92, 116, 88. That could be back again, all right? Let's give him a score, okay, of 100s. 100s for the next 3 weeks. Okay, 100s. Because he's going to play Richmond, maybe against Collingwood, give him an 89, okay, because that's his favourite number. It seems like he loves that 89 number, so let's give him an 89. And against West Coast, let's give him another 100s, okay, 100 here. What's his price? It's 440 now. If you project the price, it's still 440. He doesn't lose any money. So I'm happy to hold him for 3 weeks, because I've got other problems now, okay? So Caleb Daniel can stay. Now, Oliver. Okay, now, last week I said that maybe I misquoted this, okay? Maybe I misunderstood this, because last week I said that the coach has no confidence in Oliver and put him as a tagger. Well, I was wrong, because apparently Oliver volunteered to be a tagger, approached the coach and said, I want to tag. Now, what does that mean? That means he has no confidence. He's lacking in confidence, the young man. However, when you're playing for Abs Magic, the coach has no confidence right now. So we can't have a player with no confidence playing against the Lions and wanting to be a tagger. Now, if he scores what he scored last week as a tagger, and last week he scored a 64, let's give him an 80. Let's say he has a better game this week and scores an 80 as a tagger. All right? He loses 12K. And as I mentioned, we collect dollars off the streets, okay? Sometimes 50-cent coins. We even have to beg on the street at night times, okay? Down at South Bank, we're begging for money down Swanston Street. So we're going to sack Oliver, okay? He's going to go. We can't hold him anymore, okay? Now, the next player that has to go is the Koning. The reason for that is that the Koning I'm not worried about his buy round because my round 12 buy round is actually quite good. I've only got 3 players on that buy round. It was the Koning, Sherry, and Caleb Daniels. So the round 12 buy is not a problem. But the problem is the Koning is going to miss this week. He's going to miss round 12, which wasn't a problem. But what happens if he misses next week? Because he's going to miss round 12 anyway. He's got a larynx injury, whatever that is. Okay, it's something to do with the throat. So what happens if they say, well, we'll give you another week off so you can fully recover? So he's out for 3 weeks. I can't hold him that long. Okay, so I think it's time to go. Okay, so the Connie's going to go. Plus, Pittinet's coming in. What happens if Pittinet performs? They're not going to just sack him. They're going to They're going to drop him. They give him a 4-year contract, and he plays really well, and they're going to drop him. I can't see that happening. So we knew this day was going to come eventually. Okay, and unfortunately, it's come now. So the Koning and Oliver out. Now, here's the problem. Who do we bring in? Do we pay up for Max Gawn? 735,000. Okay, now, mind you, Max Gawn is playing against Brisbane Lions, and we've got word on the street is that the Big O is injured, playing for injuries, injections or whatever he's doing, so or Panadols. I don't know what he's taking, but he's injured. Okay, he's not feeling well, and Fort is a second ruck. And last week, the Big O got smashed, okay, absolutely destroyed by Sherry. So, and I've never seen the Big O ever get destroyed before, okay? So, it's very rare. It's very hard to score against, usually, the Big O. And you can see here, Melbourne. Gawn scores against Melbourne. Well, he scored a 0 in one of the games, but don't count that, okay? So, 79 and 138. Well, he has gone on 138 before, but also a 79. The problem is, I can't afford 735k, and even if Gawn goes 200 this week, I can't help that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to watch him score the 200 points like last week. It hurt so much. Now, who do we get then? Okay, let's go over here. Ruckman. Problem with the Ruckman is this: they are all inconsistent. All right, now Darcy Cameron. Okay, even Darcy Cameron. 90s, 70, 120, 113. They're all similar, okay? Some of them just have a worse floor, okay? Like Darcy Cameron's floor is high, so that's a good thing, but he has got a 74 there. But his upcoming opponents, Adelaide, are hard to score against, very hard to crack 100 against Adelaide, okay? And then he's got Sherry, okay? Now, and there's got Meek, who's going to come back, and he was very upset last week, so Meek will come back. He just got smashed. Meek's having the week off this week as well, so that's your problem with Darcy Cameron, okay? The matchups. Then you got Tim English. Now, Tim English, okay, even though he used to be a 700k player, 58, that was against a Shrek, who was a Sherry, okay? Now, 81, 99, 88. He has got a 166, but that was against nobody, okay? He's sort of there, but he's not there. Like, it's 557k, and you're sort of getting scores. I don't know, okay? They're all the same thing, okay? Now, if you go to Grundy, everything's the same. Nothing changes. Even Grundy scores, okay? And Grundy's got Gawn coming up as well, and Adelaide's. And Grundy, 54, 75. They're all inconsistent. You can go for a whole lot of them, okay? All of them. We knew that with even the Nank, when we had the Nank, and he was doing it. He'd go 131 week, and the following week he'd go a 70. And the last 2 weeks, since I sacked him, he's gone 72 and 84. So, actually, he had a good week against Gawn, a 106. So, who do we bring in? Well, last week we saw Zorko, the Magnificent, score a 166. Now, as we know, Zorko is a pensioner. He was giving us a hint. He said to us, "You should bring in the old fellas, the pensioners in." And we're not only going to bring in a pensioner this week. We're going to go to the retirement village and get one from the retirement village. So this week we're going to get in Goldstein. Okay, the Goldilocks. Okay, so the Goldilocks comes in. Okay, now Goldilocks doesn't do much either. You can see here, okay, the Goldilocks does score the 60s, but that was against a tough opponent. To be honest, against two decent rucks, it's got 97 and 115. he got mauled by Sherry, but Sherry is in animal mode right now, so Sherry's going to maul anyone who plays. So his upcoming opponents, the Dogs, he may break even with English. He's got the Nank, okay. We don't know how injured the Big O is. He may even play up against Fort here. He's got Carlton. I mean, we don't know who the ruckman's going to be. Probably going to be it might even be Pitanet, and he's not that hard to score against. Then he's got Geelong. So he's got a good stretch of 5 games. Now, if for some reason, okay, and I'm following Zorko because he told me they get the pensioners. So if for some reason he can go at 105, you'll see by the time we get to Geelong game, he's made 100k. I'll just upgrade him. Pay the extra. What is it? Maybe Gawn drops to 620k by then. Okay, so difference between Gawn and Goldie right now is 335k. If Goldie can get to 500k or 510k, and Gawn drops to say 620, 630k, then the difference is only 120k. Okay, so a big difference between 330k and 120k. So we're going to stick with Goldstein, okay, because he's an unwanted child. No one owns Goldstein. If you have a look here, no one's even bringing him in, okay. The pensioner, no one's interested in the pensioner. Just come from a retirement village, and only 1,318 people own the pensioner, and we're going to be one of those. It's going to be we're the 1,318th customer for the pensioners for Goldilocks. So Goldilocks comes in, and we're not going to look at any rookies this week because I've looked at all the rookies, okay, and they're all is no good, okay. Each one of them coming through now this week, I don't like none of them, okay. The only one that is half decent is probably the Essendon boy Al Habibi, okay. But however, Al Habibi's been a sub a few times as well, and if you have a look, we're getting rid of Oliver. We've got 764k. I'm not going to bring in a rookie right now, okay. So I'm going to bring in a gun. Okay, and who are going to bring in? All right, let's have a look now. Okay, let's get this off the ruck here. Who will bring in? Okay, we can afford anyone we want. Well, almost anyone. We can't afford the 2 big boys. We can afford everyone else. Now, McCluggage I like. Okay, I like Libba, the pensioner. Okay, is there anyone else? I like Connor Rosie. But Connor Rosie's. I can get him next week as well, Connor Rosie, but I do like him. Okay, Connor Rosie, especially playing in defence now. Sheasels now has become back to his old role again, and in his old role, I mean, the reason we sacked him was the old role. Although he might go well against Richmond and West Coast, so next to 2 out of 3, so he should do well there. But when he had scores of 81, 89, 106. Then he went to defence, scored 144. Then he scored a 102, 86. We sacked him after this, 86. We had enough because he's playing forward. And then he come and play in defence and went nuts. But anyway, Shizzle's now back to the forward line. It's a relief. We could bring in Sarong, okay? But Sarong hasn't really done much, okay? If you look at Sarong, what's he done this year? How many times has Sarong been a captain material? Only one time, 140. Every other game he's played, he just scraped him for 100. So Sarong, don't have to get him. Dawson is unreliable. Okay, he can go 130s or 70s. Jai Newcomb, the same thing. Lockie Neal, the same thing. Okay, and this week Oliver might tag him. If I don't want to get a midfielder, maybe we get a defender. Okay, who are going to get it in defence? We got Lockie Ash, he's been decent. Okay, we got Wangane Milera, been decent, but they're big money, 570. Milera's 550. Well, what's Wangane Milera scored? Let's have a look. Wangane Milera. I mean, he's around about the one. I mean, it's actually an expensive price because he's done well in the first 4 weeks, but 99, 111, 97, 103. The last 4 haven't really been huge, and it's still 550k, so it's not bad. Jordan Clark we can get, but Jordan Clark playing against GWS doesn't have a good record. 60, 84, 46. Okay, so I can get him next week if I want to get Jordan Clark. So I'm going to leave him for next week. Max Holmes, I can bring him in, but Max Holmes does Max Holmes type of things, okay? Sometimes he's a good, sometimes he's a no good. You can see here an 80, a 70, a 94, then a big one, a lot of in-between ones. He's very similar to Matt Rowell virtually. Matt Rowell does the same thing, so I don't want another one, okay? So Max Holmes is a no. So what we're going to do, and speaking of Matt Rowell, okay, let's get a Matt Rowell here. All right, because this is what we're going to do. All right, now, Matt Rowell had scores of 137, 136, 74, 126, and 130. Up until there, he was going nuts. Then what did I do? I traded out the weapon, Ed Richards. Remember? I took him out, Ed Richards. I brought in Whitfield for Ed Richards. Then Matt Rowell, he couldn't perform anymore. Okay, because he needs another weapon next to him. He's not a solo man, okay? He doesn't like to do it by himself. There needs to be another weapon around Matt Rowell for him to perform. So, I'm not going to bring back Ed Richards, okay? And the sign was given to us by Zorko to bring in the pensioners. So, we're going to bring in Libba, the old weapon, okay? The original weapon, okay? So, it's going to be Matt Rowell uniting with another weapon. Okay, Libba. And with Libba, okay, now, have a look at Libba's scores. Have a look at Libba's scores. 120, 140, 130, 102, 101. And you say there's a bad scores, then a 114, 125, then a bad one, and a 132. Now, his break-even's high, but it doesn't matter. He could actually get that break-even easily. So, his matchups coming up, Essendon this week, Geelong, Hawthorn, St Kilda, Richmond, Sydney, North Melbourne. He's got good matchups coming. Libba, at his peak, okay, can keep up with the Bonds. He's that good, okay? So, Libba comes in. We're going to bring him in, Libba, and because this week it's pension week, okay? So, we're going to bring the pensioners in. So, Libba and Goldstein, the two pensioners, will come into the team, and we're going to remove now the Koning and Oliver, and we're going to complete this trade. Let's complete it. So what this does for us now is that we have 200k in the bank, okay? Next week, Bice goes out, and he becomes Clark next week. So Bice to Clark next week. We could even go trainer to Clark, but it's going to be Bice to Clark. And then Cleary is going to go out for Dante from Port Adelaide, the 250k ruckman. Now, if we don't get him, and if we decide that we want to go for Cooper from Freo instead, we can actually turn Cleary into Cooper and then turn maybe Trainer into someone. So we'll work it out next week, but we'll have enough because we've got 200k in the bank. So we're gonna get two rookies off the field next week, maybe one, and we'll see how it goes. Now, as for captains and vice captains, okay. Now, what are we gonna do now? No matter what happens, I want my best player to be the vice captain. Okay, so that's going to be Sherry. So Sherry's the vice captain, which then leaves me with who to captain. Because if Sherry fails as the vice captain, everyone will have him as a captain. Okay, that's the plan. So I want my best player to be the vice captain in case he fails. Okay, so I can't see Sherry failing. Okay, now but Sherry's the vice captain. Then the captain can come from, well, this is a Sunday 1 o'clock game, so the captain can come from Brisbane. Okay, they're playing Melbourne. And it can be Dunkley. Let's have a look. What has Dunkley scored against Melbourne in the past? What's his record against Melbourne? Actually, he could go massive, Dunkley could. 143, 122, 117. Okay, and that was at the Gabba. They're playing the Gabba now. So Dunkley is one option, okay, as a captain. And the other option, and I really like this option, is West Coast play St Kilda. And McRae against West Coast. Well, even though his averages won't actually show because he's been playing as a forward, so these scores don't actually even count. But McRae as a possible captain option. So it's going to either be captain on McRae or captain on Dunkley. And we've got the loop via Boyd, and we'll use this loop now. Okay, I don't think Boyd's going to play, so we'll use that loop there. Okay, and actually, there's no rush for it. We can actually do it on late Saturday afternoon. We'll just put it there for now. So that'll be our trades this week. It's Grandpa Week, so Libba comes in, and the old man Goldie from the retirement village. Okay, Goldilocks, he comes in, and vice captain on Sherry, and captain on either Dunkley or McRae. Could even go on Sinclair, but I'll see how it goes. And that's going to be all for today. Thank you for joining. And remember one thing. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.